That is right. We are back, bringing the boom. Booker brings the boom. I know Big T hates that intro. We'll see if we ever get it fixed for the playoffs. Probably not, but we're here talking NBA Hardwood. We're talking playoffs. And hey, JSU, we got to see the Nuggets yesterday with a nice little buzzer beater. That was a cool one. That everyone was debating, was that a make? Was that not? Of course, our guy Big T, the homer, he says it was a make. He was also victory lapping in the third quarter, and he was texting me while we were talking about Showdown. Then, of course, we had the Showdown slate. That was a good time. We'll try to talk some Showdown along the way. But, JSU, was that a make or not? There was a lot of controversy over it. Like, everyone was talking, well, the ball's in the rim, but his hands are on it. And I don't know what the ruling really should be, but my thought is once it's in the rim, it's in the rim. It's made. So I think it was a made bucket. How about you?
Well, first off, I mean, Big T, he can't help but start to text all of his friends that he has wood or whatever when Jokic is dominating and the Nuggets are up. So the guy can't help himself. And then all of a sudden the Clippers storm back like immediately, right when he says something like, maybe you should hold off until after the game's over before you start doing stuff like that. But it is what it is. In terms of the basket, I don't know. Like, in my opinion, if your hands are on the ball, then you haven't let go of the ball. So if it's still touching, then it wouldn't be a basket. That's just my opinion. Like,
yeah, I just think it's in. I don't know, like because it's like
I get it. It's
like the
in
end
there,
zone.
but I'm just saying though. It's like you. Well, no. So I agree with you. Like, it should be a basket, but I'm saying like by the rule,
Yeah.
it's like the catch rule in football. I agree. Like, you catch the ball and then you just drop it and run off. Like, that's a catch. Like, he caught the ball. Calvin Johnson had, I can't even tell you how many touchdowns that man had overturned because of the catch rule. Like just ridiculous stuff. So, but the letter of the rule, like, don't you have to let go? Like, your hands shouldn't be on the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you would think, but like it's one of those things when you see it, you know it, right? I'm like, oh, I know it's in, right? Like I know that's a bucket, but it's weird.
And everyone, no matter which side you're on, you're just like, I'm for sure that's a bucket, or I'm for sure that's not a bucket. I don't really care personally. I was rooting for the Nuggets because I got that series going 7. So I'm rooting for the series to go 7. And, I was rooting for a competitive game. Also, I want to see 7 of that series. It's the best series, and it's not even close. It might end up being the best series we get all playoffs when it's all said and done. From an entertainment standpoint, not from a competitive or anything, like just from an entertainment standpoint.
It's up there for sure. I hope it's not on NBA TV either, because I know Big T went on that rant, and I thought I'd be safe of NBA TV in Colorado, and I was not. So you can't watch the Nuggets when they're on NBA TV. So I had to pull up a stream on my computer. I debated going to a bar, and I was like, I don't want to go out. It was too late. I was like, I'm just going to sit on my computer and watch on the small screen. But hopefully we get all those games on TNT the rest of the way. Also, I need to address Big T. Big T, I never called him the Jokic stopper. If you go back and listen to the recorded show, okay, I said Jokic is the best in the league. I said if I had to pick 5 guys, to cover Jokic, Zubac is one of them, because you don't have to double him, right? If it's me and JSU covering Jokic, we have to double him because we're a bunch of midgets. You know what I mean?
We'd have to quadruple him if it was.
I know.
Or we need 4 of us. But still probably get scored on.
One of the problems is if you have like the Lakers, for instance, if they have Jackson Hayes, they can't just put Jackson Hayes on his ass. It doesn't work. You can put Zubac on an island. He can survive and make it a little more difficult. So difficult that when he shoots the game-winning shot, Big T, he doesn't have to get bailed out by Aaron Gordon's ass because he shot an absolute air ball and they were up 32-9 and they could have blown that game. So you may as well send a thank you letter in the mail to Aaron Gordon, Big T.
Wait, that wasn't a pass?
No, it wasn't a pass, JSU. It wasn't a pass. Yeah.
It wasn't a pass. Shit. Oh, Big T, I was about to defend you. I was about to be like, Jokic is the greatest passer of all time, man. And you settled down right there. But I guess it wasn't a pass. I mean, I guess you could have fooled me a little bit. It looked perfect. It looked perfectly placed for Gordon to catch it and put it in. But
by the way, when I watched the game,
I remember doing the show with you, and maybe you were saying it, and maybe the chat was saying, yeah, the Jokic stopper. I could have sworn though I heard you say the Jokic stopper.
I don't think no. I said that about Aaron Nesmith, and that has not came to fruition. We'll say that. He's played him. He has guarded Giannis. I will say so. Someone in the chat, we got to take our L's. Someone in the chat said Pascal guarded him more throughout the season, gave some stat. He has covered him more. Nesmith has covered him when Pascal's been off the court, and some of Aaron Nesmith's foul trouble has been because he's been stuck on Giannis. So it's more been with the second unit, but Pascal has been more primary. I will agree with that chatter. Maybe he can pop in here if he is watching the show, and maybe he'll hit the like for us. But yes, I said it with Aaron Nesmith. I called him the Giannis stop. I think I called him the Giannis stopper, or someone said it in the chat, and then we were joking about it. So
I don't know. Big T, go back, check the tape. Big T, I need to see, because I fully remember.
Again, I'm not backpedaling though, JSU. He is one of the 5 you would take to cover him. I mean, I guess
no. I got your point. Your point. My point back was more just like, if Jokic, no one's actually like stopping him.
I agree. I think
there's guys that play him better.
Yeah,
right. I get what you were saying. Like, if you had to pick 5 centers, he'd be one of the 5 you'd pick. I totally get what you're saying.
Jace, you just got to be careful on these shows, because you make like one comment and all of a sudden people will say I'm like an SGA guy.
And you don't have to tell me.
I'm a Jokic guy. I just want. Yeah,
I'm an Ant hater because I didn't pick him in the series. So now I hate the Timberwolves and I hate Ant. Like, it is what it is. You know what I mean?
Thank you, Phil. That's exactly what I said. But the key to it, and this is why it's going to get interesting throughout the series to see how long it can go and how well they can do, is not being able to double. Can the Nuggets survive that? Right? Like, I mean, the other guys have to step up, and they stepped up yesterday. I mean, you got to give them credit, right? Christian Brown was phenomenal. His effort was there on the defensive end. His offense, he made a couple of big shots. I give them credit for what they did there. You know who else is struggling, JSU? And I'm pretty worried about that for the rest of the series. Jamal Murray. Chris Dunn is causing him problems, right? That defense is definitely making it difficult on him. So, do you think Jamal Murray is ever going to have a big series? Because I'll say this, I bet it twice. I didn't bet it the last game. I've been betting Jamal Murray over 35 plus points, 15-1. I've done it twice. I obviously got to get it right on my 15th try. I didn't do it last time.
Always got to keep going. Once you've lost 4 in a row, you just gotta keep going until you hit it.
I've only lost 2, but I didn't do it the last game. I just didn't think the road one was the right time. I think this one maybe, but Chris Dunn I just think is making it very, very difficult on Jamal Murray, where he's not even getting enough shots in my opinion.
I don't even know if it's. I mean, Chris Dunn as a defender is obviously really, really good. Could be one of the best on-ball defenders in the entire league, but I just think Jamal's just not healthy, or he's just slowing down, like one or the other. I don't think he has it in him to be the consistent Jamal where he can just night in, night out go and drop big numbers and stuff like that. I think it's showing in this series, and I think some of the Jokic frustration is probably due to that. He probably feels like it's more on his shoulders more than ever, because of how little he's getting out of Jamal. And, luckily, MPJ gave them something. He hit a few threes and he shot well from the field, and pretty efficient too from the field in his 11 shots. So, and then Christian Brown's been really good just in the series. But I think like you look at they have 0 bench production, like at all. And
this is where a good conversation.
The series, like Nick Batum's been awesome off the bench. Derek Jones has had some decent spots off the bench. Like they just have nothing when it comes to off the bench production.
Well, this is where Tim says, and this is where I was going to ask this exact question next. Are the Nuggets better without Westbrook? The problem is, dude, we're only in game. We played 4 games. They got 3 more to go. I watched live. I was at the Timberwolves Nuggets game last year, game 7. I watched them blow a giant lead and die because of all the minutes they played, right? They lost their legs. Jokic was like, he was kind of airballing. It was either him or Murray. I remember some airballs that were like, they lost their legs. They actually need, sure, they're better with Westbrook probably overall. Their starting 5 is better when MPJ is at his best. Yes, that's way better than Westbrook. Westbrook showed in that game 1 that he came in there when MPJ was struggling and kind of took over. He had some good moments, had some bad moments, but it was enough to get
Westbrook can give you a boost energy wise because he can make some energy plays, stuff that energizes the crowd, the team, big plays like that. But he can also just give you those plays that just demoralize you. You know what I mean? When he makes big mistakes. So you get both sides of it with Russell Westbrook at this stage of his career. So
but they
I don't know.
needed him.
Are they better without him? I don't know about that. Do I think he should be closing for this team? No, I don't. Because like I said, you're going to take a lot of times you're going to take the good with the bad, and it's the bad's going to be really bad. The good will be good, but the bad's it trades off. So I don't know. I think what you saw though was them going we just got to run our guys. And you saw it in the minutes, right? 43 minutes, 42, 43, 42, 43. Those are all 5 starters. You know what I mean? They did not want to play these bench guys at all. They and it kind of showed down the stretch, a little bit with that game, but hey, they won, so who cares?
Yeah. Also, Landa, we can't do this. Steph has had so much help, and I'm not trying to.
No, we're not doing this today because
what is this?
Don't get me started on Steph because he is. I get what you're about to say. You're about to say that he's had one of the other best shooters, throughout his career. He had Draymond, who's a great defender. He had Kevin Durant for a couple of years. I totally get what you're about to say, but I'm sorry. What Steph did with Quentin Post playing big minutes in the playoffs, Buddy Hield, Gary Payton, Moses Moody. These Brandon Podziemski. What he did yesterday was ridiculous.
I
absolutely ridiculous.
I agree.
More impressive, in my opinion, than what Jokic did. I'm sorry. I can't. Steph Curry would take Aaron Gordon, Jamal Murray, Christian Brown. I'm sorry. Those guys are better. Those guys are better players. MPJ's got way more talent than Buddy, Moses Moody, Gary Payton, Brandon Podziemski put together. He has more talent.
I agree. We're talking one game though. This conversation is a over the course of career conversation. It's not one game. Okay, but what are we doing?
Do we not give Steph Curry credit over his career he beat LeBron James how many times? He beat the Celtics. I'm still not over that Celtics series where I was for sure that the Celtics were going to win the chip. And then the fucking Golden State Warriors with Andrew Wiggins and Steph Curry just whooped their ass. And Steph was hitting shots from fucking half court or right when he stepped past half court. And I was just sitting there sulking every single game because you're just getting killed. I don't know. I get it though. He's definitely had throughout his career good, teams and stuff like that. So I get.
That's one of the conversations.
He's also done it later and beat really good teams too. So I don't know how you How do you Does it even it out a little bit? If Steph wins this year, Mangone, would it more even out for you?
I would want to. Yeah, I would want to. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that matters.
Would you start putting him with LeBron?
Yeah, I mean, it'd be
if he won another title.
Yeah, I think you'd have to.
At this stage of his career, with Draymond, who literally is old. I mean, look at the team around him. I don't know.
No, I trust me.
Terry, I was miserable. I had so much money on the Celtics that year. I was miserable. I lost lost a good chunk of money on the Celtics that year.
Yeah, the only point I was making, JC, is why couldn't we lead with, wow, that was such a great game by Curry without the help? We didn't have to. The Jokic thing makes no sense. That's through the course of a career. Like, it's one game. You know what I mean? He does have Jimmy Butler. Like, he has him right now. I think
he does. Well, he doesn't. He didn't have him last night,
sure,
but
for
he
one
has
game.
him.
That's all I'm saying. It doesn't. It's not. That's not part of the narrative and conversation.
Do we
he's
think
he's taking a career 10-year narrative and adding it to one game, which makes no sense. It's not. That's
okay. Now, if he wins this series and Jimmy doesn't come back, is that like crazy impressive to you? Because that would be crazy
it's impressive. Yeah, I mean, it's super impressive because
that's what I'm saying. Like Steph throughout his career has had like some of the most crazy impressive shit in playoff runs like that I've personally seen just overall.
Yeah,
that's all I'm gonna say.
No, it'll be impressive for sure. I mean, when I didn't get to watch that game as much last night, but I watched the first game. I remember the first game without Butler. The doubles were insane on him, and I said I know they're gonna adjust and find a way to get him open.
The attention he gets, like whether he has the ball or he's just running around, is insane. It's absolutely insane.
I mean, he's just a monster. I knew those role players would play a little bit better. This is a showdown thing, JSU, which I've had this happen twice, and maybe I should bring it up just because I think it matters. And I don't hand build. I use the optimizer, so I got to figure out how to find a way to do it. But the winner, or at least it was winning pretty late, I had a 1v1, and I had Kuminga, and the winner had post. It was only a $400 difference. The difference was a 20-way chop versus a 2-way chop. And that's happened a lot of times where I've been like a 1v1 off and the chop has just been a small amount. And all that swap was Kuminga for post, which was a $400 difference. Like, it's great. It's crazy. Some of these like chops.
I know Big T had a sweat. I think he missed on the optimal by like, it was like a 1.5, and it was like he had Amon Thompson, and in the winner had Fred VanVleet, and there was like a point difference between them or something like that.
Yeah.
Was that the optimal, if I remember correctly?
I didn't end up checking.
It was like a Steph captain team, I'm pretty sure. And he sent it to me. He was like literally Fred. It was the Fred VanVleet Amen swap that would have shipped. I don't know what it shipped exactly, but I know someone in our Discord had it because he won $50K.
Nice.
So yeah, I saw it and I was like, oh shit.
Our guy Big T is very upset with us, by the way. He said Golden State was favored. It wasn't some shot. Big T. It was impressive though. Couldn't it be impressive?
Okay, they were at home. Of course, they're still slightly favored. Denver was on the road. Okay, they were 6.5. They played Quentin Post 27 minutes in a playoff game, and he started. Enough said. Quentin fucking Post played 27 minutes in a playoff game. I don't want to hear anymore.
Big T, I want to see you in your little league you got. I want to see you in the playoffs play Rubio Dimes 27 minutes and catch up. Okay. That's all I want to see you do, Big T. Rubio can't play one of those regular season games. Put him in a playoff game.
He actually told me Rubio played in one of his games, and it was a rough watch.
It was a regular season game. He talked about it. It was a rough watch. I want to see it in a playoff game. Get me Rubio in a playoff game playing 27 minutes, Big T, and carry that load, big boy.
Oh my God. Post has been playing amazing, Big T.
I take him in Denver.
Played amazing. I can't.
Big T likes.
Are you watching the whole series? Are you just pulling out one game where he grabbed 12 boards? Stop.
Big T said Rubio might play 27 today. You gotta fire up the Periscope for us. Can you Periscope from the sidelines, please?
I'm calling it. If Rubio plays 27 minutes, that's an L. I'm calling it. Unless Big T pulls a Jokic or a Steph, that's an L.
Man, imagine Big T doing that Samba shuffle.
I could see it. I could see him doing it. That's a Big T move for sure.
But did you see do you remember the shot he hit yesterday where it was super contested? He hit one of those it was like a mid-range late.
He always hits like those type of shots, I feel like.
So when I watch the game sometimes, like I'll just be like, oh, that's a shitty shot, right? And like, dude, that was such a shitty shot, but it's him, so it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like he's just so good. Like he's literally amazing. So
and most of his shots aren't like that. So when he does decide to shoot like contested one, it's like whatever, you know.
No,
what I
it
mean?
doesn't. Like I'm not gonna like, if I was the coach, I wouldn't yell at him. You know what I mean? But I just see it, and I'm like, oh, that's very contested. Like that's not that's not a high percentage shot, and he's just insane. So it's like incredible to watch. All right, we talked a lot about the Nuggets.
Anything else? Or are we?
Yeah, I was trying to think if there's anything else. There's obviously the Heat game. There's nothing to talk about.
They're getting swept. Yeah.
The Grizzlies got sent packing, so thankfully we're done with that. Also,
that was definitely the series I was dreading having another game to talk about because it's the worst.
I know, same.
Second worst, but
one last thing to fire out with Big T. He made fun of me for liking Luke Kennard yesterday. He was asked, but Big T fired back and said, Sam Merrill is a way better play. So, Big T, I tried to wager with you. Good thing you kept those.
No, you can't. No. You can't do the Luke Kennard thing.
I'm doing it.
And then Sam Merrill. You can't do that.
I'm doing it.
Both you guys should take L's for playing Luke Kennard and Sam Merrill.
He was terrible. He was absolutely terrible. And I don't care. Big T.
That's all right. I played Donnie Mitchell. So we can all laugh at each other. I played Donnie Mitchell, but. 20. What do you have?
CTK. Yup, Big T would do the same thing. He'd come firing at me.
And I would say the same thing to his ass. You can't make fun. Well, one guy get 12 and the other guy gets 6. Like whatever. Like what did Luke Kennard have fantasy wise?
11.25. It wasn't pretty. So.
And what was Sam Merrill? I didn't play either of them, so
I think it was like 3.25. Like it was bad.
Oh.
It was bad. Like it was. Yeah.
I mean. Honestly, that's what you get with those type of guys. Like you're either getting made shots or you're getting,
That's what you get when the game is a 30-point blowout.
Sam had a 3. Yeah.
It's going to be a disaster. Yeah, but I think he had a turnover, so I think
okay.
Maybe have like 3 turnovers and like an assist or something.
I know like the guys you wanted were like Struss and DeAndre Hunter and Ty Jerome. I played Ty Jerome, Donovan Mitchell, and DeAndre Hunter in that first on the Cavs, and obviously Donnie. Just if you played Donnie,
and to be honest, some of those Cavs weren't as high owned as they probably should have been. I think it's because of the Memphis value.
I was surprised with the ownership, honestly, but whatever.
Uncle T, you guys keep this up, and it'll be a 3-man booth in a 2-hour show. This is fair, Uncle T. Let's keep this thing moving. You're right. We don't need a 3-man booth unless you want to hop on, Uncle T. Uncle T, if you want to hop on, you are always invited on.
Always welcome. We love Uncle T.
Always welcome, Uncle T.
I don't think he loves talking NBA though. Just throwing that out there.
So. He just likes to follow along with the winners and hit on the showdown slates. That's
Uncle T must watch the playoffs in total disgust though, because of how much fouling goes on that's not called. Because Uncle T, just so you know, this is slab basketball for the playoffs. The playoffs are slab basketball. That's what happens on the slab. Same thing that happens on the slab happens in the NBA court. They play like men during the playoffs, okay? They don't get these ticky-tack, he touched my arm while I was shooting. No, they don't call that shit, all right? You got to play through it like a man.
All right, Garrett says, let's have a day. Yes, it is NASCAR Talladega. I don't think Rubio told me there wasn't going to be a show because it's one of those races where you just play guys in the back. I could be wrong. Maybe he did, maybe he didn't. But, hey, Talladega is today if you are going to play that. Hey, we got the content up. We got the playbook, so be sure to check that out over at Run Pure Sports and use that code RPS15. I still haven't signed up for that, so I can still get in there. I got time, so we'll get in there after the show. All right, let's get to the
and I was right. A Bickoff is the guy's name in Discord. If you want to give him a shout in the NBA chat, $50K to first. He shipped it. Was that had to be a solo shipper, right? It was $50K up top, I'm pretty sure. So solo shipper in Showdown. I mean, Showdown's been crushing here. I know Big T's been all over the Showdown stuff too, the content. And I was right. His team, Big T had the exact same, except he had Amen, who scored 27.75, and he had Fred VanVleet, who scored 28.5. So literally 0.75 difference.
What was there? So the winner had VanVleet or Thompson?
The winner had VanVleet, who scored 0.75 more than Amen.
What was their salary difference?
I don't know, but I assume that. Well, I know that Fred VanVleet was cheaper than Amen. I'm
I
pretty
know. I want
sure.
to know
So.
how. That it goes back to the same point I was saying. Like, there's all these like small 1v1s that
But
keep like.
man, go and listen to this
Smash.
team though. Listen to this team though. Like everyone else, Steph Curry was captain. Okay, like stud. We talk about studs and the captain all the time.
Yeah.
Şengün Mangone, he didn't even like have like a monster game. He had 35.75. He still
Yeah.
hit the winner. Fred VanVleet, who was a deciding point. Draymond Green, Quentin Post, and Buddy Hield. That's not a crazy team as a 4-2 Warriors heavy with the Warrior captain. All those guys right there, all super playable guys. There was no one crazy, and he solo shipped with that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. It was a $1,400 difference between those two guys. So I'm telling you, a lot of those ones have been.
So he left a decent chunk on the table.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was,
there you go.
Pretty
That's
good.
it. So you can play. So in Showdown, you can play a team with all very playable guys. There was no one crazy in there. There was no like 1K guy that, right man, going like Pat Spencer a couple games ago that like randomly came in and played really well, and everyone's like, well, no one played Pat Spencer. He's 0.75 or whatever, and so like if you won with him, okay, but like this, all those guys were very playable and honestly good plays, and this dude solo shipped with it. A Steph Curry captain. Pretty impressive.
IPT is right. Kuminga burned us all. Yeah, Kuminga was not good. So that was a tough one. All right. Let's get to the slate. Isaiah Stewart, we just got the news, JSU. He is out. So that news just came by on our timeline. We are waiting on Mitchell Robinson, questionable. Jaylen Brown, questionable. Benny Mack and Tyler Smith. And hey, the late game is Milwaukee versus Indiana. That's going to be a fun one.
How was that the late game, by the way?
Yeah, I know it's weird, but I'm here for it because that's a fun series. I think.
Yeah.
I know there was a Gary. I know there was a Gary Trent Jr. legacy game, but I think the Bucks will tie it 2-2. I think they're going to make it a good series. So, I think.
So you think Gary Trent's going to repeat?
I don't know if he does it again, but he's definitely starting. We'll say that I think he's earned the starting job for the series. I'll say.
I've been saying that since before the series started. I don't know why he wasn't starting. That was one of the things that. I mean, they were starting Prince or whatever. They're weren't they still starting Kyle Kuzma? I mean, when is that experiment over?
I know. I kind of want to see them somehow get away from him and go a little smaller, like with like a Kevin Porter Jr. He's got a little bit of length.
AJ Green, bro. But I've been saying this. Their best lineups are like AJ Green, Gary Trent Jr., Giannis, Bobby Portis, and obviously Dame because he's in there. That's their best lineup right there. You get as much shooting around Giannis as possible. It's at home. I like guys like that. Like that's the best lineup in my opinion.
I just worry about his defense, but I'd have to look into that. I could be wrong.
His defense has gotten better. It's still attackable, but he's definitely a lot stronger. I mean, he's still smaller, so guys are going to be able to get shots over him, but like he's at least not getting like bullied constantly.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. Let's get to the games. We'll talk about it. We'll go game by game. We'll give you plays of the day.
This is probably it, man. They probably wanted the Laker game as like the primetime 3:30 game. Is that like ABC?
Yeah, that's ABC.
It's got to be that. They want like the LeBron and like Luka on ABC.
It's ABC. It's actually I looked at it earlier today because I saw TNT had 3 games and then the last game was ABC and I thought that was odd. So then I looked at Sunday. Sunday is ABC, and then TNT. So it'll be 2 and 2. So ABC for the first 2, TNT for the night stuff.
So TNT gets the 2 good games in my opinion, and the two worst games are TNT, or ABC gets the 2 good games in my opinion. TNT.
Yeah, I mean the Boston Orlando is definitely bad. I do think Indiana Milwaukee's fun. We got a good set of games today, so I'm excited to watch. We'll talk about the Knicks and the Pistons, and JSU and I, when we did a show last, we both said, hey, we think the Pistons win in 7 or 6. I forget which one you said, but we were on Team Pistons. Hey, they're looking pretty good so far. We'll have to see how they do in this game. Think that they can get the job done. You don't think they can get
Don't say they're looking good. They pissed down their legs in game 1. They almost pissed down their legs in game 2. Thank God they didn't. And then game 3, I mean, I love Cade, but I'll give him I'll give him a little shit. Like, he had a bad game. He tried to make it up at the end. Malik Beasley was terrible. He couldn't hit a three. They still were right there at the end, though, and couldn't get it done. It was very annoying. Like, this series should be 2-1 the other way, and it's not. The Pistons, but it's the Pistons' fault. They had chances. They had so many chances in that game, man, going to take that. They just couldn't do it. So even though I'm not a fan of the Knicks team, I've been a fan of the Knicks team this whole year. I've been saying, like, I don't like the Knicks, whatever. They found ways at the end of games to get it done more than the Pistons have, and that's the difference in the series right now. That's why this series is 2-1 the Knicks and not 2-1 the Pistons or 3-0 the Pistons, because it could be, but it's just not. So we'll see. They need this game, though. We need this game to be a Detroit game here. The line is going that way, though, I think, right?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a Detroit game. Also, Jake, we will not be giving these. We will not be giving draft takes. We're good. We love to talk a lot of different stuff, not on this show.
If you wanna see Mel Kiper crash out, there's probably 500 videos of him crashing out. That's like the only thing that's worthy of watching and laughing at is those. And the prank call, man, the prank call was funny. The prank call was funny. You can watch that over and laugh a little bit. That was funny.
Well, yeah, we'll get to the Pistons. So pricing has been like, do you think pricing has been different than past playoffs, JSU? Just because I think there's some stuff to mention in this game with pricing. I think it's looser than past playoffs. Do you kind of agree? Like, the mid-tier just feels like it's easier to access these guys?
Yeah, so it is looser, but it always kind of is, right, man? Like, people, they want you to be able to play your favorite stars, and
I'm just surprised, like, Cade Cunningham's 9.5, right? In the past, it feels like he'd be like 10-2 in the playoffs. Like, I just think the pricing's really loose. Like, I mean,
listen, Paolo's been great in the playoffs, and he's still 9.4, even though he had like a down game.
Yeah.
I mean, Ant's still under 9K. Jalen Brunson, who's been awesome I hate his game, but from a fantasy standpoint, he's been awesome in the playoffs so far. Like, he's still under 9K.
I just think it's pretty loose. Like, you look at Mikal Bridges' price. I know Big T talked about it on, a couple shows ago or so. Like, his price is way too cheap right now at 5.6. Josh Hart is 6'9". I just haven't seen Josh Hart at 6'9". It feels like, I know it was last game, but you get what I'm saying. He never is 6'9" in the regular season.
The problem with Josh Hart is, Mangone, and some of these guys, like, in the regular season, they're going to shoot a little bit more. They're going to be a little more aggressive randomly for games and stuff like that. And don't get me wrong, Josh Hart can still, like, get some assists and get some rebounds. But at the end of the day, that offense is going through the two stars, and then it goes to OG and Mikal, and Josh Hart is always going to be fifth on that list. So, like, that's why I like Josh Hart to me in the playoffs. He's just a tough click, even though he looks cheaper than in the regular season. There's a reason behind that. Yeah,
for sure. But yeah, so Nick's side, Bridges, I don't want him to do well, but he keeps crushing 5.6. I'm intrigued, oddly enough. Brunson at 8.8. I guess you have to compare him versus the other studs, but I do think it is a good spot for him if you want to spend up. I do think I preferred Cade. There's also some mid-tier guys that we'll have to talk about here, like Malik Beasley. I do think it's a really good spot for him, 4.9K. Dennis Schroeder, he's another guy. I was talking with Big T a little bit about it. I said, hey, if they're going to win this series, he needs to step up and have a big series. And he has. He's been playing good basketball. I assume the role continues to be good. The minutes have been going up and up. If you look, first game, 26, second, 29, third, 30. Those are going to continue to go up for sure. So I think Dennis Schroeder is one of the better values in this game, probably than Beasley. And then Tobias Harris, my boy, pour one out. He had 5 fouls and was horrible last game. We'll see if he bounces back. And then Jalen Duren's another mid-tier guy that I think the optimizer just pushes. So it's worth kind of mentioning his name. He's been solid. Hasn't been like this like slate winning play, but for his price, he's not terrible, and he's at home. So I think I like a lot of these Pistons. My order would be, like I said, Schroeder 1, Beasley 2. And then from there, I don't see anything I love, right? You can make the case for, a Harris, a Duran. I'd probably put Cade 3, but like those two guys are just clear values to me on the Pistons that I like. And then on the Knicks, Bridges just feels too cheap, and there's nothing we can do about it. I just think you kind of have to consider him. You don't have to play like 80%, but you got to consider him. Curious to get your thoughts on what you're doing with this game, JSU. Maybe you're like me, kind of heavy on these Pistons values and Cade Cunningham.
Yeah, I do think game one is a good game here. And I think there's plays on both sides. The Detroit side, I'll just start off like Cade Cunningham had 60, and I said it, but like he had a bad game. Like not fantasy wise, obviously he had 60 fantasy points, but like he had a real life bad game. He had 6 turnovers. He shot 10 for 25 from the field. I do not think he's going to do that again. He can get so many easy shots whenever he wants to get into the paint because he's so much bigger and he's so much stronger than most of the guys outside of like, I guess OG is definitely like probably similar like strength wise, but everyone else, like he can get inside on when he gets switched onto. And, I don't think he's going to go 10 for 25. So he's like one of my favorite studs. Like he does everything else in the peripherals that I want. I know he had 6 stocks. Obviously it helped his fantasy stats, but even, if he doesn't get 6 stocks, I think the points are going to be up. I think he's going to have a monster game. And like you said, he should be 10K, 10-2. He's not. He's 9,500. And, he's a mainstay in their offense. Like, outside of these guys who are shooting threes, the Tim Hardaways, the Malik Beasleys, which is a big part of their offense, like that Cade is the most important. So, he's what gets them going. If we do think it is a Detroit game, I think we got to think Cade has a much better game from the field. I love him here. He's my favorite stud in this game. The rest of Detroit, you talked about Jalen Duran. I don't mind him. I don't love it though. Like he's 6'6". He's got to contend always with foul trouble. Getting out there to guard Cat is a pain in the ass for these big centers. Yeah, could he have a double? Like even in game 2, where he had the double man going, and 39 was good, right? 6,100, 39, like that was good and stuff. But honestly, it was weird. Like I didn't notice him. It felt like the entire game. Like I didn't think he was doing anything. I watched the whole game. I was like, yeah, he's got some rebounds and stuff, but like he's really not doing much. He somehow ended with 39, but I was just like, wow, I felt like really lucky because I played him to get 39. I just don't think, at 6,600, I don't think those games are like, does he have a higher ceiling like against Cat? Maybe, but I think dealing with him on defense is an issue. We talked about the Oscar Thompson thing. I actually said it with both the Thompson brothers in their series, but like it's just not a series for those guys. Like it's just tougher because of what they're asking him to do. I think Durant kind of fits that, in my opinion, just because of how much he's got to put on the defensive end. With the size of the Knicks and Cat stretching the floor. So I don't like Durant, and I don't like Thompson. I think Tobias Harris probably has a bounce back game. Yeah, man, you were going to say something?
Yeah, to the point we're talking with the centers, like center I think is weak today. And if you want to just say, oh, you can play Giannis there, sure, you can play Giannis there. I get it. But in general, if you look at this, like the centers, they are Karl-Anthony Towns, Jalen Duren, Jackson Hayes, Rudy Gobert, Wendell Carter Jr., who's been like a good value most slates, right? But it's still Wendell Carter Jr., Porzingis or Horford, and then Miles Turner and I guess Giannis or Brook Lopez. Like it's just like nothing really sticks out there. So that's why I say like you might just kind of like get stuck with some Duren because of that. Like a good 1v1 is Miles Turner or Jalen Duren. If I told you had to play one of them, JSU, which one would you prefer?
I definitely think I feel more confident Jalen Duren gets like 30 plus than Miles Turner. But if you ask me which one got 40 plus, I
It's
probably
Turner.
lean Miles Turner. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like in my head, and then again, like I don't want to start talking about the late game early, but like Miles Turner is not shooting 1 for 9 from the field, 0 for 6 from 3 again.
Yeah.
It's probably not going to happen. You know what I mean? So,
just like
he
Tobias
probably
Harris
ends
is
up
not
missing.
getting 5 fouls again and sitting in foul trouble, right? He'll be
Correct.
back to more of what you saw in game 1 and 2. Does it mean this guy's like a lock button play? No, but I think he's a good play on this slate.
And again, like Tobias Harris is a key, no matter what you think of Tobias Harris, he's a very key role player for the Detroit Pistons. You know what I mean? The Detroit Pistons, that is a team that's it's well constructed for what they have. They have a clear star and then a bunch of they have a few vets that play key roles, and then they have some young guys that are talented, right? And if you lose, all it takes is like one of those guys, right, Mangone? You lose one of those like key guys, it's going to throw everything off. And Tobias Harris getting in foul trouble definitely threw everything off. I can go back to him, though, and to finish up Detroit, I mean, I agree with you on Schroeder. I don't need to talk about it. It feels like to me one of the shooters is going to have a game, Mangone. Beasley, Tim Hardaway. Last game it was Tim Hardaway. Last game Beasley couldn't hit a shot. Took 10 threes too.
I think Beasley. I think we get the Beasley bounce back here.
I have to play Beasley because if he nuts here and I don't have him, I'm gonna bash my head into a wall. So because I played him last game. So I do like shooters at home. I'll take some Beasley here. So yeah, Cade, Tobias, Beasley, and Schroeder are the 4 guys I'm interested in from Detroit. And then the Knicks side, I like Brunson the best at the top. I already gave my piece on Hart. Like he's fine if you like fall on him as the last piece, but I'm not like forcing him in. I think I like OG a little bit more. And, they're going to play their guys a bunch of minutes. So, Mikal Bridges is cheap. I hate going. I wasn't on Mikal Bridges for the 40 burger, Mangone. So I don't like jumping on guys like him here personally.
But he doesn't need 40
at
the price. He does not need 40. I just want to call that out.
He doesn't. It's a good point.
And here's the other thing. So you said this, but so did Jay Pinney, one of our chatters. Knicks guys are going to play minutes, right? As we get to game 5 and 6, as we get deeper and deeper, you're going to see less campaign, less Mitchell Robinson, and these rotations are going to get tight, and these prices are not adjusted for it. So it's hard for me to make some like decisions on the Knicks and be like, I like this guy, I like this guy. But like my point is that core starting 4, you can make a case for most of them. I think Cat's the worst of them. I would say the best is probably Brunson, and then it's like Bridges and OG, and then actually core 5, I should say. And then maybe it's Hart. The point I'm getting at is like, these are guys that if they're on the winner, I wouldn't be shocked. You know what I mean? I don't want to have like 60, 70% of them, but in MMA formats, they make sense. And if you want to like get them in single entry, it's not the end of the world, right? They're decent last guys in, and they're just going to play a pile of minutes. So it's hard for me to rank them. Did you rank the value? Did you rank the Pistons guys or no?
I gave the 4 guys that I'm interested in. Cade, Schroeder, Tobias, and Malik Beasley were the 4 guys I was interested in. The rest of the guys I probably won't get to.
We align on that. For me, it's probably like Schroeder. I think Schroeder's the safest. I think he's a floor ceiling guy. I love the floor and I love the ceiling. I think the floor is there because of the usage he's getting. Beasley, I think bounce back game. I love this spot for him. Cade, I think he's a really good stud to spend on at 9.5K. Tobias Harris, I think a good bounce back from him as well. And then Duren's fine. For the reasons I said, center just sucks, and you could fill him in there. It's fine. All right. Lakers, Timberwolves. We'll talk about this game. Great showdown game. I don't know if anyone wants to play those like middle of the day showdowns. They're not as big prize pools, but hey, me and Big T talked about this. Less competition, you're not going to have every single MME guy in there. Our guy Third and Schlong has won some showdown slates. I don't know if he's hitting those slates in the middle of the day. So if you want, this is a fun one. You play Luka, LeBron, and just a ton of good studs in this game. On the main slate, I kind of like a good Luka bounce back spot after the illness. I want to kind of try to find some confirmation that he's okay and that he's still not throwing up. But I actually think it's a good bounce back spot for Luka.
You ain't finding that information regardless.
I know
you'll find out. You'll find out after the game starts, Mangone.
I know. That's when we found out about the illness. It was frustrating. It was a random report.
They're not telling you before.
I just figured maybe a reporter asks how he's feeling, and maybe JJ says he's doing a lot better than he was, and that's it. But I'll take that over nothing because I was pissed when I heard the news while I was watching the game. But I like the spot as a Luka bounce back at 10.9K. I prefer him over LeBron. I probably prefer Ant at the price discount over Luka, but my problem is I do think the Lakers win. So I kind of want to be heavier on Luka today. You know, when you build your teams on these 4 gamers, sometimes you got to build for the narrative. So I'm going to try to get heavy on Luka. I'll have to find the value for it. Do we have value in this game? That is the question. I do think we do. Some of the values that I'll be looking at. I think McDaniels is fine at 5.4. Naz Reid at 5.1. I prefer him over Rudy Gobert. Naz Reid kind of feels a little bit like Miles Turner. I don't love him to get that 28 to 30, but I like him to get that 40, right? I think the boom bust is there for him, and I think he got a chance for him to boom today. I really like DiVincenzo. I like what I've seen from him in this series. Yes, he had that one bad game, bounced back this past game, 31 minutes. From my perspective, Dante and Naz Reid are those are the 2 guys that are kind of like their tickets to, winning this series. Like him, Jaden McDaniels, of course, Ant's going to be great, but these guys have to step up and get more minutes, and they're going to be really good fantasy plays. So those are the 3 key guys on the Timberwolves that I think are really good values. I don't like Conley. I don't like Nickeil Alexander-Walker. Julius Randle's fine. You can make a case for him, but I just think there's better use of your salary. So yeah, that's most of the Timberwolves. Lakers I talked about up top, like in Luka, obviously. I did not mention Austin Reaves. I talked about these price discounts, JSU. Austin Reaves is 6.7K. That is hard to ignore. I think he's actually a pretty solid play in the mid-tier. Not a big Rui guy in this series. He's been okay, but he's not winning you tournaments right now. I don't think his role is that great. Dorian Finney-Smith at 4K, if you need a cheap value, you could make a case for it. But again, I think there's better values. And then, of course, a Gabe Vincent, I know he's been gaining some more minutes. That's more of a showdown play, not really someone that I'm looking at on the main slate. So key for me is I'm looking at Luka, I'm looking at Austin Reaves on the Lakers, and then I really like those key Timberwolves I talked about in McDaniels, Naz Reid, and DiVincenzo. And then, of course, Ant Edwards feels too cheap. We got someone in the chat, Caleb. He says he's not playing Reaves. 6.7K Reaves. Start there, JSU, and then discuss the rest of this game.
Yeah, you can look at Reaves. I'm not looking at Reaves.
He's 6'7", though. He's
6'7", and Luka was throwing up everywhere, and he scored 37. Like, Luka is not doing 40 tonight. Luka might actually have 40 tonight. He ain't doing 40 fantasy points tonight. It's going to be much bigger than that. So I will not be playing Mr. Reaves. His game would have been last game. So if you wanted to play him you missed the boat on him. Kind of like LeBron. If you didn't play LeBron last game, you missed the boat because that was LeBron game. This game, going back to Luka here, and I agree with you on that. Outside of him, the Lakers, to me, I do think you could play Jared Vanderbilt just because the price tag came down to 3,100. So like it went up after game 1 and then to 3,600, then 3,400. Now it's down to 3,100. So I do think if you just need the value play to get Luka in and he fits, I don't hate it. Obviously he's out there to hustle, get rebounds, probably use some fouls up and play defense, but he could fall into an okay fantasy game that can make everything else fit. I can't play like the Jackson Hayeses though. The Rui would be like a last piece. I don't want him, but he'd be like a last piece because he is playing a ton of minutes. But yeah, no Austin Reaves. I think the LeBron James game, I mean, he's still cheap, I guess. So it's fine. I just think you're chasing last game, and is he going to do the same thing? Probably not. I think it's just Luka. The Minnesota side has better plays, and I think that this team runs off of Ant, but it's going to go as far as Jaden McDaniels and Naz Reid, especially in this series. There's no coincidence that the 2 games that Jaden McDaniels has played really well in, the Timberwolves have won those games. That's not a coincidence. It's just a fact. Like, if Jaden McDaniels is giving you 25 to 30 points, they're winning games against almost anyone in the league. That is ridiculous production from someone who you look at all throughout the year wasn't doing stuff like this. So he is stepping up massive. I definitely agree with you on Nas, even though you'll see the stats don't show it. Like from a fantasy perspective, he needs to play in this series. They need his shooting out there. It's much more important than Rudy for this series out there. Rudy does not fit as much this series. Nas fits way better. Dante's a good value play. I've been saying this also. Dante over Nah. Nah only played those minutes last game because Dante was in foul trouble, or 2 games ago because Dante was in foul trouble. Played only 16 minutes. They also want a shooting because of the way they're guarding Ant. Because of the way they're guarding Ant, there's like 3 pairs of eyes on him at all time. It's just like one of these guys in the rotation of the ball gets passed around is going to get an open look. So if you can surround shooters around them, that definitely smells like Dante, Nas, Jaden McDaniels are going to have a lot of clean looks at the basket. And like 1 or 2 of them are probably going to get there in a Timberwolves win. So I think you can go right back to those guys. And obviously Ant's still too cheap if you want to play Ant. Not playing Rudy, probably not playing Randall. But like you said, if you were playing like a bunch of teams, I don't think I would like take him out of the pool. He's fine. I just want more of the cheap guys because, in a lot of these games, obviously with the starters playing a lot more man going, right? It's harder and harder to find like the value plays. So where you have like clear value plays that actually get big run because of the way Minnesota like starts their lineup but plays other guys more down the stretch, those guys are much more valuable in the playoffs. So you got to attack those missed prices right now, and Minnesota has them. So yeah, Minnesota good plays. I think for the Lakers, it's mainly just Luka and a cheap dart on Vanderbilt in tournaments. That's all I see.
Yep. Good points there. We agree on those Timberwolves, those cheap ones. And I plugged it in just to see if I play like Luka and Giannis, just because I think Giannis is the best stud today, but I really want to play Luka. You're left with 4 or 5 for your last 6 spots. Not super ideal. So I think that's going to be difficult. And to your point, Paul, because you mentioned it in the chat, look at the usage rates on Brunson and Cunningham. If you can't jam Luka and Giannis, you might only be able to get one of those guys. Maybe you do play a Cade or a Brunson instead. Or
those guys are awesome plays at those price tags.
Yeah, or maybe you do, which I talked to Bobby a little bit about this, but let's say, and I know Big T built this the other day, but let's say you did an all-guard spend team, right? Cade, Edwards, and Brunson. You're left with 4 or 5. So you could start with Luka and Giannis, or you could, do Cunningham, Edwards, and Brunson and only have to fill out 5 guys. You're kind of left at the same spot. So that's definitely a debate that you'll have to have. A lot of good stars to get to today. Curious what you're doing with this 1-star JSU. I do think you're going to have a different opinion than maybe some people. We'll talk about Orlando and the Boston Celtics. Orlando, Paolo Banchero has been amazing. Last game obviously wasn't as good. It was the Franz Wagner game, but overall Banchero has been great in this series. It's the last game. They're going to play him 42 minutes at least, right? Who knows? Maybe he'll even go 45 because it's like a game that they have to win or they go home. 9.4K for Paolo Banchero. I know you were talking before the show. You think the Celtics kind of roll in this game. If that's the case, you might not like Banchero as a spend, but at 9.4, he does seem like he's definitely got to be a stud that has to be in play today. Franz Wagner, I had enough of him, luckily, last game, and the games before that I didn't. I don't see myself loading up on Franz Wagner. I want to be higher on Banchero. I just think he's a way better play. I don't really want to play too many of these other values. The only ones I'm really considering are Wendell Carter Jr. at 5.2. I don't think he is a bad option that you can get to. And then I do think Anthony Black is not a bad cheap value at 3.5K. Did not play a lot of minutes last game, only 13, but I could see them go back up. He was playing good to start out the game, and then he just didn't get minutes. And of course, with the Boston side, there's no Drew Holiday, so there's naturally value there. JSU, you got Derek White, 7K, Peyton Pritchard, 5.3K. And then Jaylen Brown is questionable. If he happens to miss, that'll obviously shake up the slate and change it completely. We'll talk about it in the Discord chat if that happens. Sounds like you think he plays. I kind of lean he plays as well, and they close this series out. But what is your thoughts on Celtics and Magic?
Yeah, chat's on you right now, man. Going series 2-1, so they don't.
It is 2-1. You're right.
They don't go down.
When did that happen?
They don't go completely away. They won last game.
I know. I wrote that off. That's me being an idiot. Sorry about that. That's my Boston.
That's you being a Celtics fan, right there. Is what that was.
Yeah. But, you're right. I blanked on that.
That's all right. So yeah, I think that the one annoying thing about the Orlando is I want to be with you on guys like Anthony Black, but they're just not doing it. I mean, they're just Corey Joseph's still playing a ton of minutes. They tried out Cole Anthony last game. I think he came in before Black. They played around the same amount of minutes, but Gary Harris played 20-something minutes. I just can't do it, man. I just don't want to be in the business of these Orlando guys. If I were to play a cheap guy, it probably would be Black at the price tag, but I don't think I'm going to get there. If you're playing a ton of lineups, though, I would play some Black and some Cole Anthony because it did feel like the Magic were kind of searching. It's just like Cole Anthony's not it. You can't come in the game for 14 minutes and 5 turnovers. That's not going to work here. So it's the playoffs. Can't be doing that shit. So he didn't really work out well. I hope they go to Black. They should really go to Black. But the one thing about this team is their 2 stars are pretty much doing everything. I mean, combined, these guys are shooting like over 50 shots a game or something like that. It's just crazy the amount of volume you're getting from these 2 guys. Obviously, Paolo had the down game. Again, it's like I think if you wanted to play Franz, it was last game that he was massive in that game. Didn't even shoot really well, though. That just shows you, though, like how much he was shooting. Like, he didn't shoot well. He shot 11 for 27 from the field, 3 for 13 from 3. It's just like, he had a good peripheral stats. He had better peripheral stats than Paolo. I don't think that's going to happen again. Paolo's not having 1 assist and only 6 rebounds. Those are probably going to change here. But I do like Boston. Yeah.
Do you want to hear the usage on Franz Wagner and Paolo Banchero in this playoffs?
Go for it.
So to put it in perspective, Giannis, I'm not including Dalton Connect, who's got a 45% usage, but guys that actually are playing. Giannis is the leader at 36% usage. Second is Franz Wagner at 35.2, followed by Paolo Banchero at 34.9. So these are the number 2 and number 3 usage players in the NBA playoffs so far. It's a small sample, but it's pretty insane.
Well, I believe it because when I watch every single game I've watched, I literally just see 2 guys playing offense and then the rest of them standing around. So it kind of checks out with what my brain is looking at when I see it. You'll get a mystery from KCP every now and then. You'll get a Corey Joseph 3 every now and then. Maybe Wendell Carter gets a dunk, but these 2 guys are doing everything. So yeah, I don't know. The problem is I do think that Orlando gets rolled in this game. I think Boston's a good bounce back spot for them. I do think Jaylen Brown plays, but the amount of usage these guys have, I think you have to at least look at them. And the forwards on this slate, the forwards are definitely much better like on this slate than they have been on some of these slates because you do have Giannis. But I don't know, man, going Paolo, LeBron, Tatum, like how are you ranking those guys?
You said Paolo, LeBron, Tatum?
Yeah, like that 9K range. How are you ranking those forwards?
Paolo, Tatum, LeBron. That seems. I mean, I have Giannis over everyone today, but yeah.
But he's 11-8, so
I know. I'm just. I wanted to add him in the combo though.
I think I would rank them the same. Paolo, Tatum, LeBron. I think I would rank them the exact same. Like, so if you end up landing in that spot, yeah. And if you do land on a Franz, it's not terrible because, like Mangone said, I mean, he's the second leader outside of Giannis in usage, short sample size. But I don't think that's going to change. Or if it changes, it's only going to dip like a small amount. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
if it dips, you know why it dips? It dips because Banchero is having the big game and the ball's being funneled to him more. Like the ball got funneled to Franz more because he was going off. I mean, he was playing great last game.
And like the Celtics, he was left open like a few times, like wide open a few times. Where and it almost felt like they were just daring him to shoot.
Yeah, there were some elbow threes where they gave him just wide open elbow threes. They like kind of they went to go cover it and then they stopped and let him take it. So
yeah, it was interesting. So yeah, we'll see. But I think if you're playing Orlando guys, it's mainly those guys. The Boston side is definitely a little more interesting, just with the role guys. The problem is the price tags and the fact that like Kristaps Porzingis with Jalen and Jason in, I think it hurts him the most. Derek White, Peyton Pritchard the second, 7K for Derek White. He's been awesome, like in the actual series, Mangone, but from a fantasy perspective at 7K, he's got to give me more in the 40s. And, he's only done that once. He can do it, but it is tough to pay 7K if both Jalen and Jason are in, which I do think they will be. So the question is more the cheap plays, like the Al Horford plays, kind of a little bit of a condom play, but I'm okay with it because of the value that sucks today. Peyton Pritchard, terrible fantasy game. Can we go back to him? You can. He's going to probably play around the same amount of minutes, 20 something, high 20s maybe. And, he could definitely have a bounce back game there. The Luke Cornett's of the world. Luke Cornett played more than I thought, but he was having a decent effect on the game for a little bit of time. 3,400. I probably wouldn't go there, but yeah, it's the Celtics are going to play their guys big minutes. So it's just a question of like, who do I love? I don't love anyone, but Tatum over Brown, obviously. I think White over Porzingis. And then what do you have? Al over Pritchard? Probably Al over Pritchard, right?
I definitely have Al over Pritchard. People don't give Al enough respect. I will give him the respect he deserves. He is 5K. He's not like, he was like 4.4 and then 4.8, like 4.70. I mean, that a couple $100 does matter. But I do like Al. I will definitely continue to play him. I do. What do you do with Pritchard? I don't think I want to load up on him at 5.3. Someone asked in the chat too. For instance, like you can play Peyton Pritchard, or you can play like, a Jaden McDaniels or a lot of these other options. I know not the same position, but there's a lot of 5K guys you can kind of play. Like, I just don't think
I'll give you a straight up one: Peyton Pritchard or Andrew Nembhard.
Nembhard. Let me think. That is a good question because I've been a big Nembhard guy, but I like him more at home.
I like him more at home.
Yes, that's where I'm. I also don't think this is a good Peyton Pritchard series. I don't think it's a good Peyton Pritchard series because the length, I think, is a problem a little bit for him. And it's a slow tempo game, right? Like these grinding out games aren't Peyton Pritchard's basketball. He's more like that fast paced environment. So
I also think the way Orlando plays, like slow, grindy, it wears on guys like Peyton Pritchard the most, especially defensively, because like, defensively, I don't know if you've watched Peyton Pritchard defensively, but one, he's been so much better in this playoffs from in years, last year, holding up defensively, like way better. I mean, he's a pest on ball with some of the smaller guys, but then he's got to deal with switching out onto Paolo and to some of these other guys. And he's held his own, man. He's held his own, but it's got to be a lot when that defenses are constantly still trying to hunt you down, get you switched on a bigger guy, and then that bigger guy just fucking hit you every single time, and just try and wear you down. So it definitely takes a toll. And like you said, you want Peyton Pritchard in games where they're moving the ball. It's a little faster pace, tempo, not as much the style here.
Yeah, my final answer is Andrew Nembhard. I will choose that. And I do agree. Like, I want guys at home lead. Like, I'm with you, but keep in mind, Max Struss wasn't at home yesterday. Christian Brown wasn't at home yesterday. Like, we can't just like ignore like road guys on them. Road
I mean, keep in mind though, like Darius Garland was out, so that made all those like role guys better.
No, that's
also
fair.
Keep in mind Denver plays their starters the most of probably any team in the NBA playoffs so far.
It's a fair point, yes.
So, but I get what you're saying though, and at a certain point, like you got to play some of these guys that are on the road. Like, you know what I mean? You can't just fade all of them. Yes. The Minnesota cheap guys and mid-tier guys are the best on the slate. It's not a question. They're the best. If you told me that your mid-tier or cheap guys were mainly Minnesota guys, I'd be like, okay, I'm cool with that.
Yeah. Yes, I agree with that. I just want to call it out. Like, we can't, because I've in the past built like that a little bit, like early on in the days, and I was like, okay, we can't just do that. You know what I mean? So better tiebreaker stuff. That's all. But
right.
Yes, I am with you. Do you have any final rankings on Boston? For me, it's probably Horford 1, or probably Tatum 1, probably not even Tatum 1. It's Horford 1, Tatum 2, White 3. But man, I want to be higher on Boston, but it's hard to get high on Boston today.
It's hard at these price tags. I wish that they were a little more friendly, with the price tags. But man, it just sucks. Like Porzingis, like it's clear when those two studs are out there, they just don't play as much through Porzingis, which makes sense, honestly. But yeah, the 7-1 price tag is just, it's a little much. It just sucks because the centers aren't good on this slate. So you want to try and make the case for like a lower owned guy. I can't pay that tag for him.
Here's a good thing to ask you. So Derek White, do you feel like he's been good throughout this series, like fantasy wise, without looking?
I mean, I know he's been good real life. From a fantasy perspective, well, I don't need to look because I game 1, I know he was good. But the other 2 games, I think he was like subpar at best.
So
if I remember.
So he's at 46.5, 34.5, and 34.25. I know we're not supposed to game log watch and everything. The point I'm getting at is I think it's 7K. The floor and ceiling is really good, especially with Drew Holiday out. And I just think he's a really good play on this slate. Like he kind of feels like a little bit like I said, Davion Mitchell just feels like such a strong play. I know they're different price tags. He was 5.2 yesterday, but I don't think this guy Derek White's burning me today, right? If I'm building my teams, like I feel pretty confident he's getting me. Like
I don't think he's burning you. I just think you need 45 to ship.
Okay, yeah,
right?
I don't know. I don't know if you need it. The other thing you could argue is like maybe wasting the 7K on him over a Brunson or a Cade. Like the opportunity cost might not be there, so that's a point to bring up. But I don't want to overlook Derek White today, I guess.
I don't think Brown's getting. Why do we think Brown's getting ruled out? Or is he saying if?
See, I'm just not speculating it. I have no idea what they're going to do with him. So
I mean, if they were going to sit these guys, they should have sat him last game. I keep saying it. I was very annoyed about it, but they should have sat him last game.
I'll say if he sits, he sits. The thing I will call out is I will probably have enough exposure to this last game where I'll be able to make enough swaps. I don't feel like I need to plan for it. And I'll also have swaps from Boston or Orlando too. Like I don't want to get off of these cheap Minnesota guys that I like. I don't want to get off some of the Detroit guys I talked about.
Yeah, like worst comes to worst, man, and you can go from Jalen to Franz if you have 200 left. That's not terrible.
Yeah, and I am going to have I'm going to have a lot of Indiana, Milwaukee. I'll explain why in a second. I'll have a lot of Giannis. That's why, JSU, right? Like I'm playing Giannis today at 11.8K. I've been playing him everything.
I know you're playing him. You've been talking about him the whole show, and we haven't even gotten to the game yet.
I played him. Well, I played him every game, and he just crushes every game.
I think every single game we've hit on, you've told me you were playing Giannis or you like Giannis the best. Every single game we've hit on, somehow we've gotten the Giannis point.
Well, the best part is, so against Indiana when he had 57, I got third that game in one of the GPPs, the $100 single entry. And then ever since, he's still 68, 60. Like, it's hard. This is the matchup for Giannis. Like, it's perfect. It's why I thought, hey, the Bucks will win this series. The problem is they haven't been as good, but it's not a series yet because no one has won on the road. Giannis still is defending that home court. We'll see how he does tonight. I like him a lot. I'll definitely be loading up on him. I had a lot of Gary Trent Jr. yesterday. It's hard not to have a lot of Gary Trent Jr. this game. He is 4.5K. I do not need 53, Gary. I don't. I'll take 25, right? 25 would be perfectly fine. So give me half of what you did and I'll be happy. I'll definitely have a lot of Gary Trent Jr. He's guard and forward eligible if that matters. So I think that's worth calling out. Also, AJ Green was really good last game. You talked about him a lot. 26 minutes last game. You know what? I don't mind sprinkling a little bit of AJ Green. Dame Lillard, he's another interesting one at 8-2. I'd rather just play the Brunsons. We talked about the Cade Cunninghams, Ian Edwards. Don't want to waste my salary. And then Bobby Portis. I do think this is a Bobby Portis series. I don't love that he's 6K. I wish he was a little bit cheaper back at that 5.5K range. But I think I'll have some Bobby Portis as well. Also, this is one of the better games because the tempo of the game, right? It's going to be super fast-paced. It's probably the highest total without looking. Now I'll talk about Indiana because I'm sure there's guys I'm going to like here. Tyrese Halliburton, 8.4K. He's definitely in the conversation. I always like to attack the Bucks with guards, so I think this is a spot where you can make the case for an Andrew Nehard, who we talked about a little bit. A TJ McConnell could pop off at some point. The minutes haven't really been there, but you could – I know you talked about him last show. Maybe you could touch on him again if you like him. Aaron Nesmith had a huge game at 4.8. Projections will just pop him on teams. I know how they work. It's going to happen. Pascal Siakam at 7.3. It does feel cheap, and he's been awesome throughout this series. And Miles Turner, I like his upside. So I love this late game. I want to have exposure to it, JSU. I'm sure I'm going to have a lot of exposure. What about you?
Yeah, Mathurin questionable too, so we'll see. I think he tries to go, but we'll see what happens there. I do think it would definitely help the Nesmiths and the Nehard type plays a little bit more, but I'm probably not going to get to Halliburton because I think I like the Brunson, Cade, Ant section of a little bit better than him. So I probably won't get to him. If you're making a ton of teams again, I think you should leave him in the pool. But I prefer him a little bit more at home. The other Indiana guys, I do think Cassetter's weak. I think Miles Turner is in play and a bounce back candidate there. So I'm going to keep him in the pool. Pascal's been really good. Just been very consistent in this series. So I think you want to get to him. Hopefully he can be a little bit even more aggressive because when he is aggressive is when he's at his best. But, I'd like to see him push it even a little bit more, especially because Halliburton is one of those type of stars that he's never going to force shit. He's always going to make the right play. So it's not like Brunson. Brunson's going to force himself, Paulo Franz. They're just going to force and get what they want. Tyrese is going to get his in the flow. And if it's not there, he's going to get it for somebody else. So Pascal is someone, or Miles, one of those guys, they have to step up and get super aggressive because Halliburton's only going to do it if it's allowed. And Dame, I saw a funny clip, man, someone posted something on Twitter. It was man, Dame must hate Halliburton because I've never seen him play defense in his life. And it was just a clip of Dame harassing Halliburton and actually being able to stay in front of him. And I was laughing because I was man, that's so true. He does not play defense and he is all over Halliburton right now. But I think from Indiana, it's the two bigs that I'm most interested in. I think if I land on a Nesmith or a Nehard, I'm cool with it. I don't expect, if they get me 25, I'd be happy. If they get me 30, I'd be ecstatic here. Neesmith's been pretty good. And honestly, the minutes haven't even been like that crazy for him. 31 and 27 minutes the last 2 games, 25 and 38 fantasy points. He's been shooting really well from 3. Before I even looked, I knew it. 80% in game 2, 50% in game 3. That's really good. If he continues that, which that's tough to probably continue, but if he does, he's going to be decent at that price tag. So I don't mind it. The TJ play, I think, is still there. Again, the minutes upside is never going to be there, but I still think the reason to play him, he could get you 20 plus and, be okay with it if it's getting you Giannis and whoever else. Gary Trent's the best value play still. I think AJ Green's the second at 3,700. Those are the 2 value guys I like from Milwaukee. I'd put Kevin Porter third if I had to put someone else. And then I'm fine with going back to Bobby. He's been hit or miss, but when he hits, man, he's putting up big games. And I know this series is a Bobby series. You could tell. I mean, they love Brook Lopez, and he's just getting no run in this series, and there's a reason behind it. They've just been much better with Bobby Porter's in than Brook Lopez. So, yeah, I hopefully they go completely away from Kyle Kuzma. I feel like they're starting to maybe do it a little bit. I hope they do it even more, and that results in more minutes for AJ Green. Maybe that results in more minutes for your boy Kevin Porter too. Maybe it makes him a better play, to get a more consistent run out there. But yeah, I like the cheap guys. And then you can obviously play Giannis. I'm probably going to go the 3 8K build, but if I go a stud, it's obviously between Giannis and Luka.
Yeah, it is between Giannis and Luka. I really want to take Luka, but it's Giannis.
You ain't taking Luka.
I know.
Don't even lie.
I know I want to, but I'm taking Giannis. I think.
Yeah,
he's just too good today. I looked at ownership. I don't know if Saber's updated. Are we believing 9% on Giannis, JSU?
I don't believe that.
Yeah, I don't know.
I know the value's bad, but I still don't believe it. I think people are going to try and it's the late game. But
the highest owned guy is currently Dante DiVincenzo at 33%. So I'm going to
say he's over 20 for sure. But
yeah, I think so too. But I do like the spot for it.
Obi, you like Obi?
My best thought process on Obi is like you could do a sprinkle of it because he could spike and have a big game, but I'm not expecting it, right? Like it's a volatile play, right? Like if he goes out there, more than likely I'm expecting him to get between 8 and 16 DK points. If he pops for the game, he pops for the game. I just don't think this is like his game environment in series, right? Like it just doesn't seem like it makes a lot of sense. Like he's better in more like those small ballish lineups and teams, and this isn't a small ball team, right? Like if they're playing the Lakers, they like to go a little bit smaller at times, right? Jackson Hayes isn't really someone they load up on.
The thing with Carlisle though is he's extremely unpredictable. So
yes,
if he went out and played Obi Toppin 20 minutes tonight, I wouldn't be shocked. Especially if things aren't working out early. He's just trying to get stuff to work. So
that's why he's a hard click in single entry, 3 max. But in MME, when I MME, I, for the most part, do not I don't play 80% of one of these Pacers. You know what I mean? I try to mix and match it as best as I can. I did kind of push on Andrew Nembhard in that first game, and that worked out really well. And I did it in the second game. I laid off on the third. Luckily I've hit pretty much the Pacers really good so far. The good thing is Benny Mack might be out. And if he is out, that's going to be huge to help a lot of those guys. And that could give Obi Toppin a nice little boost as well off the bench. So there's definitely guys that we need to play on the Pacers, but be cautious with them, right? I don't think you want to play Nembhard. I don't want to play Nembhard and Neesmith together, I don't think. They are starters, so maybe you can, but I don't want to do Obi Toppin and TJ McConnell, right? Make sure you don't do that. Make sure you don't play a Benedict Mathurin and an Obi Toppin. Just be a little cautious with how you kind of play these Pacers. All right, anything else from this game, JC? Or you want to get?
Yeah, I mean, Michael asked, do I think Mathurin plays? I don't have like a super strong feel. If I had to guess, I think he tries to give it a go, because it's a playoff game, but we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a late game. I think he tries to play. That's just my personal opinion. So, let's see. Anything else? What's up, Memphis? Doug, 3K players I'm looking at, Reed and Cornette. I mean, honestly, if you hate center and you're not playing Giannis, just straight punting Mangone, it's not a terrible idea.
Well, say that again with the straight punting.
Like, if you hate center, straight punting a center is not a terrible. Like, if you're not playing Giannis and you don't like the center position, I don't think playing Paul Reed or, Cornette is like a terrible idea.
That's fair. That's one reason I'm just playing Giannis today is I think he's just
put him in the center. Just get him right in there. So
center's just kind of rough today for sure.
I think I'm going to end up with some Miles. I think Miles Turner is going to be like my late play just because I hate center.
I like Miles Turner's upside. So
the floor is not great, but I know the ceiling's at least solid, and he can get me 40, and he's 6,200. So the other guy that fits is Bobby. That's another guy, man, going. If you don't like, so you can plug Bobby in your center spot. So I think those are probably going to be my two centers. Maybe I'll throw Nas in there. Nas
or Al Horford. Those are two other cheap ones you can get to as well if you don't want a full punt.
Yeah, I think I'd rather Nas for the upside, but So like that's probably my center pool personally.
You want an interesting full punt? You could do.
Paul Reed would be the punt, but
I'll give you another one that I think is interesting. We just talked about him. You could do Obi Toppin at center. I didn't know he had the center eligibility, but you can do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean that's.
I don't know. I don't know if I love that. So,
I'm just saying, full punt. I'll tell you this. He's the only guy I think I could see getting 35 DK points in that range. You know what I mean? Like
someone asked if Mitch Rob was out, Chua, would he be worth a pick at 3K? Do you think he plays if Mitch Rob is out?
I mean, he definitely would play. Would he be in play? Yes, he would. I assume he would slide into Mitch Rob's exact minutes, which is exactly.
I don't think he would play Mitch Rob's exact minutes. I think
maybe not. Maybe what they would do is maybe Towns would because
he'd probably play like 10 to 12 minutes max, whereas Mitch Rob's been playing 16 to 20 minutes in this series so far.
Yeah, I bet you Towns would probably go up to at least he played 41 last game. Would they play those double bigs as much? Maybe not. Maybe Bridges and OG would get pushed and Hart just even harder on their minutes. But
yeah, they could play Campaign or Deuce a little bit more.
I'll tell you this: we're getting the news in we will get news or an update in a little bit. This is something I'll worry about when I have to worry about it. It's not something I'm expecting. It's if this news hits, I'm going to be like, oh, okay, I got to figure this out. And we'll figure it out in the Discord chat, JSU. We've been almost live for an hour and a half talking about the games. We got to get the plays of the day, though, of course. So, JSU, I'll let you go first. Who's your play of the day?
I'm going to stick in the first game of the slate, Mr. Cade Cunningham, going right back to him at 9,500 and going to ride with him, man. I think if they're winning this game, I think it's on the back of Cade, dropped 60, and I thought he played bad in that game. I think he's got massive upside, and hopefully he does the exact same thing he did last slate, but instead of missing a shitload of easy shots, he makes them and has a monster game this time out.
There you go. Cade, it is for JSU. Antfer says thanks. So we appreciate you. If you enjoyed the show, hit the like, subscribe to the channel. We'll go live. We're going live at 10 a.m. Eastern, all playoffs, it seems like. So, we've had some earlier shows, but that's when they've been, and you can watch them back whenever you guys want, on 1.5 speed, like myself. I like to do that. So, all right, let's get to my play. And I don't think he's going to be high on, but maybe he is, maybe he isn't. But I've talked about him during every single game, so I have to make him my play of the day. But we're loading up on Giannis. It's a Giannis slate. I will probably have more than 50% when I build out my team. So give me Giannis Antetokounmpo as my play of the day. JSU, final thoughts before we get on out of here.
No, good show. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Good Sunday. We get 4 games to watch throughout the day, all throughout the day. So it should be fun. I'm really pumped to watch honestly the first 2 games from a real life basketball perspective. I do think they're fun series and very, very close series. And they played it that way, kind of like tight series, Knicks and Pistons and Lakers and Minnesota. Those are some good real life basketball there.
All right. I don't know what was going on at the bar, Hermit Money, but I'm thinking that's a troll. But yeah, geez, funny stuff in the chat. JC, I did just get a DM from one of our members. One of the benefits of being a member at Rumpier Sports, he sent me his lineup and asked my thoughts on it. He's got Luka and Giannis. I'll tell you this. It's a tough team. Like, I don't know if you can do Luka and Giannis today. You know, it's got Paul Reaves.
He had to have punted a few spots.
Yeah, his cheapest guy is Paul Reed, and then he has a bunch of 4K guys and a 5K guy. So yeah, it's an interesting one. I'll have to send him a DM back and let him know what I think of it, because that's what we do over here at Rumpier Sports. Get in the Discord.
Paul Reed can definitely get it too. Like Durant gets in foul trouble. Paul Reed can definitely he can definitely get some stuff done.
He could. I get it. Center's not great today, but that's why I'm playing Giannis. I'll put him a lot in my center position. Yeah. Appreciate you as well, Lee. We'll have Big T back to stroke the Nuggets, I'm sure, tomorrow, talking about the Denver Nuggets and how great they are. Maybe he'll give you some Cincinnati Bengals draft takes as well. Maybe he'll look it over and let you guys know his.
Big T definitely hates the draft, so no way he's giving – no way he knows who – the Cincinnati Bengals drafted. I'll call that out. There's zero chance he could tell me 2 guys they drafted.
I bet ask him tomorrow. I bet he glossed over it. I bet he went back because he knows the college players.
You think he knows the names of 2 guys? You think he knows 2 guys they drafted?
Yeah, I mean, I don't. If you ask me 2 Packers, I know Golden and there's some edge rusher from Texas.
You're not Big T.
I know. I mean, I'm struggling right now, so it's fair. I do like to go back and look at it all once it's all done, which I'll probably do tonight when I got some free time. So
just gloss it all over.
Well, like me and Big T know a lot of the college players from playing DFS, so it's like
I didn't say he wouldn't know who they are, like, but I'm saying would he know like who they drafted? I'm not saying like if I told him everyone they drafted, he wouldn't be like, oh, I know that guy or I know that one.
I just bet at the end Big T glosses it over because like there's certain guys you see, like one from the Kansas City Chiefs. Like I saw Jalen Royals went there. He's a receiver, and I was like, man, he's actually like a pretty good pull for the Chiefs there. He's kind of similar to Rashee Rice. He didn't go to like a big school and like was really talented at like his like mid-major kind of school. And we'll see how he looks. We'll see how he looks with the Kansas City Chiefs. But
all right, I'll ask him. I'll ask him next show.
It'll be a fun trivia. But all right,
I got no shot. That's what I got.
All right, we'll have to see. We're gonna get on out of here. Thanks a lot for joining us on the show. For me, man, going in JSU. We'll see you guys later.